Time once again, kids, for the Kaufman Corner podcast. With you as always, David Lesky from Inside the Crown. Les Norman, former Kansas City Royals outfielder, breaking the norm, his fine radio show. My name is Soren Petro from Sports Radio 810 WHB. We talk Royals baseball here on a Thursday. Remember, if you're catching us via the podcast, we stream live 8:30 a.m. on Thursday mornings. We'll talk about the Royals playoff chances now. Bobby Witt Jr. being the youngest Royal to 100 home runs. The lineup switch, India, Yastrzemski, how well that has worked and why. When is the right time to bring back Jac Caglianone to the big league club? Can Vinnie make a run at 30 and 100? What does he mean to this team? What does Maikel Garcia mean to this team? They seem to be walking and hitting home runs. Who is this club? We have no idea. The bullpen, will it be enough? How about Salvy? He's going to be catching more. Is that a good thing? Bad thing? I know where David Lesky's going to land on that. We talk about it right now here on the Kaufman Corner podcast.
You're listening to the Kaufman Corner Podcast, the most in-depth analysis of the Kansas City Royals, breaking down the Royals like no one else can. Kaufman Corner is hosted by David Lesky, Les Norman, and Soren Petro. David Lesky is an accomplished author and the publisher of the Inside the Crown Royals baseball newsletter. Les Norman is a former Royals outfielder. He's the host of Breaking the Norm with Les Norman on Sports Radio 810 WHB, as well as the author of Teaching the Tools of Hitting. Soren is the award-winning afternoon Sports Radio 810 WHB in Kansas City. Kaufman Corner is Barnes Allstate Insurance, covering all the important things in your world. Home, business, life, and even the fun stuff as well. Motorcycle, boat, ATV, you name it, get with Dave and he'll have you covered. 1-6-781-7331. Visit them online or stop into any of their locations, including North Kansas City, Liberty, and Branson, Missouri. Don't put those insurance needs off any longer. Get with Dave today. He'll give you peace of mind for the things in your life. Now, here are your hosts, David Lesky, Les Norman, and Soren Petro.
Thank you very much, Curtis. Off and running here with the Kaufman Corner podcast. And guys, let's dive right in. We are talking about the Royals playoff chances. David, 22.4% I saw in Fangraphs. I didn't look at that. That was late last night. That might have changed a little bit. So I now that I think about it, I'm like, maybe I should have looked this morning for it. But, 1 and 4. Think that's accurate as to where they sit right now?
Yeah, I mean, it's 21.5%, which we have to get somebody from Fangraphs on. It changes throughout the day with no games played. How? I just want to know how. That's all I want. So that's a question that I have. But 21.5% right now. It looks like there are a few projection systems in there. I think ATC is the highest. I saw at 20. No, the BAT has 23.8%. So 1 and 5, 1 and 4. Yeah, I mean, look at the standings. They are. A half they missed a real chance last night, but
yes,
glass half full, they didn't lose any ground. Glass half empty, they could have gained ground. They're half game up on Cleveland, 2.5 behind the Mariners. They have 3 against the Mariners. They're playing well last night, notwithstanding. I think that if you ran this season 100 times, they probably make the playoffs 20 to 24 of them. And so, I think that projection makes a whole lot of sense. I think it's a long shot, but it's a possible shot. And I think that's a good number.
It's more than, what is it? Dumb and Dumber. You're saying there's a chance, right? Like it's not 1,000,000 to 1 less. Like there's real. I think what is, and I can make a case that their actual chances are higher. I don't know what, I think the reason you've got different numbers is because they do, weighting more of how they're playing later, how they're playing more recently. This is more of an indication of who they are now. They're clearly playing their best baseball, which would make you think that this is the floor percentage. Now, I don't think it's 80 or 90%, but they are less playing better baseball, which gives you the idea that, if anything, these numbers might be a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean, I looked at the Fangraph numbers as well. I know that's a shock that I went into the statistical stuff, but I did look at it, and I feel like that's a little bit low. I think they have a better shot. I mean, I think they're probably factoring in to the fact that in the head-to-head, the Yankees have them and Boston has them. So basically they're chasing Seattle. But if you look at a week ago or 2 weeks ago, KC was down on that list. They had all those teams in front of them, and now they're just chasing Seattle. So it really hasn't been that much of a time that they've leapfrogged a lot of those teams, and now they're knocking on the door, and they are playing great baseball. They're getting some timely hitting. They're getting on base a lot more. We'll talk about that a little bit more, but I love the fact that baseball sometimes has the justice of it, that they're going to play a series against Seattle. That makes me really happy, because that's going to put so much, well, if they keep playing this way, that's going to put a lot of attention on that series, and that makes this game and this playoff hunt fun. I was one of the naysayers a week ago, 2 weeks ago, a month ago, and everybody kept telling me and following my eye roll, it would be they're too inconsistent, or and again, I think we'll also talk about what are maybe some of the pieces that may keep them from the playoffs. But regardless of that, you got to give them great credit that they're playing great baseball and doing some timely things. I feel like last night, even though, like you said, David, they didn't lose ground, but they didn't gain ground. I feel like last night was one of those, that's a hint that could keep them out of the playoffs. Or if they sneak into the wild card, they may not go into a deep run, because it's games like that where I feel like we got cheated a little bit. They cheated themselves out of a win. They probably should have won that game last night, but still, I'll stick to the positive, glass half full. They're playing great baseball, and hopefully they can keep it up.
David, the other thing is they've eliminated the teams between them and who they're targeting, right? Like, I think that's the big part. They finally started bringing down the number, because for a couple of weeks after the trade deadline, it just kind of was stuck there at 4. I think they got to 5 at one point, but 4 or 5, they hadn't really made up any ground from where they were at the trade deadline. They've now finally done that. And so, and put those teams, at one point we've talked about it. Well, there's 5 teams they got to get by. Now it's just 1. Right. And do we even look up and say, I think the Yankees are going to run away and hide based upon their schedule. I think that's one of the underrated parts, is the Yankees have a lot of bottom feeders left on their schedule. But Seattle, Boston, like they're all right there. They seem to be kind of playing back right now as well.
Yeah. Doesn't it feel like over the last season and a half, 2 years, that every time the Royals get hot, everybody gets hot? Last year, remember, they won 8 in a row, the same time Cleveland won 9 in a row. It was, and again, you want to go glass half full, glass half empty. The glass half full is Cleveland sitting there going, they won't go away. The Royals are sitting there going, why can't Cleveland lose a game? So it just felt like that. And right now, you look at the winning streaks, or losing streaks, I guess. Red Sox have lost 3 in a row. Mariners have lost 5 in a row. Cleveland lost the last 2. You've even seen like Tampa fall back, and the Angels, who can only apparently beat the Dodgers. They're what is it? It's the Dodgers, and there's one other team they're 11-1 against, and then everybody, Dodgers and Red Sox. They're 11-1 against the Dodgers and Red Sox, but 50-65 against everybody else. But so they've fallen back. So the Royals have cleared it out a little bit. Now Cleveland's still hanging around. I don't think they've cleared Cleveland. I think they have in the standings for the moment, but that does help. You're right. They only have the one team, and yeah, they could pass the Red Sox too. Yet they lost the season series, so they're 3 games back, which means they're 4 games back. But Boston's not playing well. And this is just true of the whole season, though. Every single team has these stretches where they look like they can't be beaten. The Royals went 16-2. They're, what are they, 25-16 since their low water mark? I think it is 28. What were they? 25-15 since their low water mark. That's a World Series run. 25-15 is a 100-win pace. Every single team except for the Rockies and the White Sox, I feel like, have looked like, oh, this team could make a run at one point, and then another point go, this team is the worst team in baseball. The Tigers were 1-12 over a 13-game stretch. So that's just the way the season's gone, but the Royals are taking advantage right now. So yeah, they have a shot. And I will say too, real quick, 2 weeks ago when we recorded on the 7th, they had a 9.2% chance to make the playoffs. And so it's easy to go on the ebbs and flows of every day, but to jump from 9% to 21, 22%, that's a big jump in 2 weeks.
Well, and if you just go back a few days, that's where they really made the jump, is when they clear those teams.
Yeah.
When you take those teams out of the way, and it's just like, okay, there's the finish line. It's just us and the finish line. Are we going to get to that number? I think that's what clears it out a lot. And the run differential, Les, I mean, like that's the other thing is I know they fell back below, they have a negative run differential after losing by 3 last night. They'd climbed to where they were even on the year, and we know that's making up what I'm not sure what the low water mark would have been, 30-something at least.
I think more than that.
Was it? I remember like a negative 34 and things like that. Where, and generally speaking, that's a better indicator of what you're going to be in the future. That's the sign, Les, that they are not just winning games, but they're consistently outscoring their opponent, which is how you ultimately bunch together wins in baseball.
Well, 2 weeks ago, we were also talking about upcoming series and what they had to do, how many wins they'd had to get against the Nationals, against the White Sox, and then we'll see about Texas. But they went 2-1 against the Nationals. They swept the White Sox, and now they're 2-1 with an afternoon game today against the Rangers. So they've done what they've needed to do. I mean, that's 2-5-1, 6-7, and 7-2 over the last 9. If they go, I mean, even if they lose today, which it's a fair shake, based on Lorenzen, and I can't remember who he's facing, but they have almost identical ERAs. I think it's a 0.02 difference in ERA. So, I mean, it's a toss-up today. They could very well go 8-2 over their last 10. So this team is capable of that. And when you look at a run differential from where they were to where they are, it points to good offense and good pitching at the same time. And over the course of a long stretch, it doesn't seem like it had been that way. We've been talking all year about how the runs per game was just low, and why is this team on paper or visually so good, but on paper they're just not. They're not doing it, and then injuries and so many things is making us kind of poo-poo what the season could bring. And now we actually, if you just stop today, and if you extended today, if today lasted for 36 hours, it's 36 hours of hope. They actually look good. They actually have a shot here. And so it's a good spot to be in. And I like that you brought that run differential up, because they had to do a lot of work to get there. And obviously it's shown.
Did you get the worst, David, what the worst run differential was?
I think it's minus 37. Yeah, because it was when they fell to 39-46, the first game of that Mariners series, they were minus 37. They were minus 34 2 days later when they lost again.
Yeah. I mean, so they've come a long way.
Yeah.
And that speaks to how, I mean, you don't make up that without playing better baseball for a decent stretch, right? And this isn't just a couple of games where they've gotten it better. Let's talk about Bobby Witt Jr., youngest Royal with 100 home runs. What does that mean, David? Like, what is the takeaway? Carlos Beltran is the record he broke, by the way. What do you take away from that? What does it mean for the rest of this year? What does it mean really for the big picture of what he's going to be when his career is all said and done?
I mean, I don't think this is controversial. I think I'm not saying he's the best, but he is the most talented player to ever play for the Royals. I don't think there's been anybody with more of everything that he has. And so George Brett's obviously still the best, but Bobby Witt is the most talented. He's surpassed Carlos Beltran. And I think Beltran was the most talented before Bobby Witt. So yeah, it's huge to get to that milestone. You get to the first milestone. It is interesting. It feels like players sit on numbers forever. It just doesn't seem like they're ever able to. That you get to 99, 100 a week and a half. Now, I think there was some circumstances there. Bobby, he had the back injury. The day he sat with the back tightness, the last game of the Twin Series, hadn't homered since the Twin Series. You thought, maybe it's the back. I don't know. Maybe it was the milestone. Players say they don't notice things. They know where they are. Some of them know where they are. But I mean, yeah, the sky's the limit for Witt. He's a Hall of Fame talent. He's a guy who, what can't he do? We saw him put up one of the best seasons of the last 25 years last season. And he's theoretically not even into his prime yet. I mean, I think that there's some argument about prime years, but I mean, this is a guy who he can hit you 330. He can hit you 30 home runs. He can steal 50 bases. Theoretically, he hasn't done. He hit 49 2 years ago.
Right.
He played phenomenal defense. I mean, he's not just a great player. He's a generational talent. And what's the number? I think at some point the stolen bases are going to come down. The home runs are going to come up. I think that he will. And I think they're going to build a new ballpark that probably helps him hit some home runs. I don't think they're going to be quite as big. if you fast forward 15 years and you say Bobby Witt just retired and he had 515 home runs, it wouldn't surprise me. If you say he just retired and he's got 3,500 hits, it wouldn't surprise. None of it would surprise me. I mean, I don't think he's going to pass Pete Rose or anything, but what he can do, and I know that it's an easy answer to say he could be one of the best of all time, but he can be one of the best of all time because he's already shown that he's had a season that was one of the best of all time. So why can't the career be there?
Well, we heard these kind of things on a diet version about Adalberto Mondesi, right? And it was like, oh, they're so talented. He can do it all. He can steal. But then he never did it all. He always could do it all. He never.
He did it for 2 weeks.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And Bobby Witt Jr. has led the league with 211 hits. He's led the league with a 332 batting average. He's led the league in triples with 11. He's leading the league in doubles right now with 38. Unless the thing that jumps at me is he's kind of having an off year, and he's leading the league in doubles and OPSing 843. Yeah. Like that is the mark. Like we knew that he probably wasn't going to repeat his MVP caliber season, his second place MVP season last year. And this is just so reassuring for me because no, he's not. He's not having the same kind of year. And, he missed a game because of tightness in his back. Maybe he's been battling that all year and he's still going to, get on base at a 351 clip, slug 493. Like your bad years are the mark of greatness, right? When your bad years are still career years for some guys, that's how you know a guy's really good.
Yeah, absolutely. And in comparison to Bobby Witt Jr. and Adalberto Mondesi, let's remember Mondesi's body was made of paper mache, and Bobby Witt Jr. actually has muscle. So let's go ahead.
I'm going to stop you there. I don't think it was that firm. Just FYI.
How about wet paper mache?
Yeah,
there you go.
That crumbles in your fingers. Yeah. So, I think he's going to get to 500 home runs. I think that he's durable. He's strong. I had the honor of having a once in every 5 to 7 year crown seat the other night on Monday. And so I was right behind the Royals on deck circle. And I watched Vinnie come up, 10 feet away, like he's massive. And then I watched Bobby Witt Jr. come up in the on deck circle, and his legs and back are huge. Even Garcia comes up, who's the tall, lean guy, and you could watch a drive-in movie on his shoulders because he's just such a big guy. I mean, these guys are so athletic and strong, and it's unbelievable. So I think with Bobby Witt, Soren, you're absolutely right. This is a down year for him, and we say down year. It's only been 4 years, right, of his career, but it's a down year for him, and he's still pushing at 300 again. I think he'll hit 23 homers, maybe 25 home runs, but I think for him, he could even hit 30. The only problem is that they pitch him away a lot, and he does a great job going the other way, kind of like Garcia. He can also have power the other way, but he's also streaky sometimes in home runs. He could hit 3 or 4 in the next 5 games and then go 7 or 8 games and not hit a home run, but still get 2 or 3 hits a game and sneak toward, that 300 number. So it's hard to say. But you also see the power. I mean, that ball he hit for his 100th home run to center field, oh my gosh, that was ridiculous pop. So if he stays healthy is not going to be a problem. I think he's going to be a Hall of Famer. And it's fun to watch because he'll have a bad game or he'll have a 2 or 3 game bad stretch, which is rare for him. But then all of a sudden he just goes off. I mean, he doesn't slump. If you consider like 7-8 games, I mean, they were talking about one of the Texas players, I think it was Josh Young, who had come up and pinch hit and just how bad he'd been doing and the chances he got. Bobby doesn't have those times because he stays with him. I've never seen him get mad. I've never seen him lose focus. When you have that mental package along with a durable body and an understanding of the game at that much of an age, David's right. The sky is the limit for this guy. And again, we don't know the future on injuries, but the way he takes care of himself and the way he's built, I think he's going to be around for a long time, and he's going to do Hall of Fame things.
Let me give you a fun stat. Down year, right? He's on pace for 77 extra base hits. How many 77 plus extra base hit seasons do you think there are in Royals history?
Not many.
Oh, I mean, GB probably a couple of times, maybe more than that, maybe 3, 4. I'm going to say
once.
9. Wow. Only once.
Wow.
There are 7. Here's the list. Number 1, last year, Bobby Witt, 88. Number 2, Hal McRae, 86. 3 was George Brett, 85 and 79. McRae's was 77. Jorge Soler had 82 in 2019. McRae had 81 and 82. 81 extra base hits in 1980. That's hard to say. Beltran had 80 in 2002, and Jermaine Dye had 79 in 1999.
Wow.
And Bobby Witt Jr. is on pace for 77 extra base hits in a season that we're looking at and like, man, he needs to do better. he's third. Fangraphs wins above replacement is you can look at either one. I haven't looked at Baseball Reference actually hasn't updated in like 2 days, by the way. I don't know why. It's weird. But Witt's third in baseball and wins above replacement on Fangraphs in a season that we literally are going, man, we need more from him. Got to get more. Got to get more from the third best player in baseball.
Yeah. No pressure, but
it's wild.
Yeah, it is. He's been absolutely amazing. They've also had quite the lineup change that has paid some dividends. We'll talk about that next. After you hear from our friends at David Starnes Allstate. David Starnes Allstate Insurance, serving the Kansas City area and all throughout the Midwest. With David Starnes Allstate, it's not just about fender benders. Beyond traditional safeguards, enjoy perks like roadside assistance for unexpected breakdowns, transportation expense coverage when your car is in the shop, auto replacement protection to keep you on the road in style, and much more. You can give Dave and his crew a call at 816-781-7331. Visit them online or stop into any of their locations, including North Kansas City, Liberty, and Branson, Missouri. David Starnes, Allstate Insurance. Your favorites are back. Kansas City now for a limited time at all your KC Whataburger locations. Get the Pico de Gallo burger, 2 large beef patties, 2 slices of pepper jack cheese, Pico de Gallo, and creamy cilantro lime. How about the sweet and spicy bacon burger? 2 large beef patties, American and Monterey Jack cheese, bacon, grilled onions, and topped with sweet and spicy pepper sauce. Or grab the patty melt. Even the honey barbecue chicken strip sandwich. They're all perfect with the Whataburger banana pudding shake. Remember, Whataburger's open 24 hours a day. Breakfast served 11 p to 11 a. And don't forget, you can get all your Whataburger favorites and more by downloading the Whataburger app with the QR code. Whataburger, proud sponsor of the Kaufman Corner podcast.
This episode of Kaufman Corner is brought to you by Frontier Justice, where freedom is a lifestyle grounded in safety, responsibility, and respect. With locations in Lee's Summit, Missouri, Kansas City, Kansas, and Jenks, Oklahoma, Frontier Justice offers firearms retail, a premier indoor shooting range, and training all under one roof. Whether you're new to shooting or a seasoned pro, you'll find expert staff, sense of community, freedom. That's what Frontier Justice stands for. Visit frontier-justice.com to learn more.
Let's talk about the lineup change. Yastrzemski going to the top, India going down, and it's paid huge dividends.
Yeah.
You know, this by Mac Potrero, who some say is like not managing well. I mean, has anybody ever pressed a button more perfectly than he seems to have with this lineup?
Well, yeah, I don't know who made this decision that was in his ear other than Q himself. I'm sure there was some collaborative effort. I mean, these guys talk the whole game. I was looking in the dugout and they're constantly in each other's ear and asking each other questions. And I like a collaborative effort, even though he is the guy that makes those final decisions. So look, I think this goes back to the fact that we've talked about it and we know why the Royals got Jonathan India. It was the whole on base. The guy just gets on base. He's not going to hit 20 home runs. He's not going to hit 300, but he's going to get on base. He's going to play decent defense, but he gets on base. It's the walks, it's the hit by pitches, whatever it may be. But it also takes somebody that has humility, because oftentimes you get somebody that you bring him over, you pay him $5 million or whatever you're paying him this year, and in your mindset, okay, you are that guy. You are our leadoff guy, and this is why. And so you get that mindset that, okay, I have to be the leadoff guy for this team. They're paying me a lot of money and all those things. And then when you get moved out of that role, you could very easily get frustrated. You could be frustrated at yourself. You could be down. You could get a little bit arrogant and say, well, I should still be in there. I know it's not the number, but it's why you hired me, give me an opportunity, whatever. But he didn't do that. What he did was, the reason why it wasn't as effective as it should have been was Jonathan India put so much pressure on himself that he became the mindset of, I'm the leadoff guy. And I don't think that he had those numbers in Cincinnati because he was the leadoff guy. He was just doing what he does best. And so when he came down and we got Yastrzemski, I know Yastrzemski coming in had a couple of leadoff home runs. He for a leadoff type guy or a 7 or 8 hole guy in San Francisco, he can still hit the ball out, but he was hitting, what was it, 230, 235, maybe?
Yeah.
Right around that 234-ish. So you bring in Yastrzemski, who new team, great, because San Francisco is not good this year. And then you move India down. Both of them are happy with the move. One, Yastrzemski feels like he's got new life. Somebody wants me. I can relax here. It's not the big market pressure of San Francisco. And then India, who goes down, I don't have to be the leadoff guy anymore. And he embraced it. He stayed humble. He embraced it. He didn't put too much pressure on himself. And then the game actually started opening up for Jonathan India. Again, where I was sitting the other night on Monday in that Crown Club, that was the game that the Royals won 4-3. Vinnie hit the home run. Yastrzemski led off the game with the home run. And then Garcia hooked that one in the corner that just stayed fair, right inside the foul pole, right over the fence. But the loudest exit velocity of the day, and I didn't even have to ask this question because I had heard it and someone told me I was right, was Jonathan India's single. He turned on a 97-mile-an-hour fastball on a single to left field, and it sounded like a cannon went off, but because he was right on it. And the Jonathan India of 3 weeks ago, a month ago, was struggling to get to that pitch, or he wasn't even swinging at it because he couldn't get to that pitch. And if he can now, but he couldn't back then, it wasn't a physical problem. It wasn't because he was too tired. It was simply because he was in his own head and he was trying to hit like a leadoff hitter. So you get down there and you get two guys that are mentally free, not putting pressure on themselves, and are just seeing the ball and hitting the ball and doing what they do without trying to do what they do. This is the great result you get. And so whatever the move, Q did it, and it was a fantastic move. I hope it stays there. It would be a travesty if it didn't.
Yeah. I think Yastrzemski was a guy that when you come up someplace, people are always thinking about what you can become. Mm-hmm. And, I think in San Francisco, he took off right away. And so and exceeded really what his prospect status was, but that became the new ceiling. Like he's got to go get more. He's got to go higher. And he just kind of stayed being the same guy. And so I think for Giant fans, somehow he became a disappointment. For the Royals, you look at his career and go, okay, I know what we're getting. We're not getting, an all-star outfielder. The expectations are just come in and be that guy because that's better than what we have. And that creates, to Les's point, somebody who wants me. I love how Les said that. That's a healthy environment, and I think you're seeing the best that Yastrzemski has. Oh, he's not bad with the glove either, David.
Right, he's been great. To India's point, Les, that single you're talking about, I was there too, and it was loud, and it's everything he was doing all spring long. Every at bat in Arizona. Did you guys go down there at all this year?
I didn't.
This year.
Oh, you didn't? I thought you did. Okay. Well, I was there for a few days. Every at bat I saw, rockets to left. They were not driving the ball, but you were looking it up, and they finally put StatCast in surprise, and I'm looking it up after I get back after the game. I'm going 109, 111, 107, and then starts off the season. What he had he got on base 3 times in 3 of his first 4 games, and then he got hit in the face, and things went to hell from there basically for him. And I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but I can't imagine it didn't.
Well, there's nothing like getting hit with a 95-mile-an-hour pitch in the face that might change your perspective a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I think we may know now that Emmanuel Clase was just making good on a bet, but it was it probably changed things, and he's looked like the guy he looked like in Arizona since he moved down to the 6-7 spot, and I can't remember if it was on the radio show Soren or here last week, but I thought when they moved him down, I thought, I'm going to look and see. This is the first time he hasn't hit leadoff since he hit leadoff 105 times last year for the Reds. He hit 6th 11 times, 7th 8 times, 8th 16 times, 9th twice. He hit 4th 3 times for the Reds too. That might be why they didn't make the playoffs. But batting 6th, 848 OPS last year. Batting 7th, 936 OPS. Batting 8th, 865 OPS. Now, he had a 353 on base at the leadoff spot last year. So I don't think the Royals were flawed in their thought process of getting him as a leadoff hitter. It made sense. He got on base. and he got on base decently for the Royals before he moved down. But he's excelled in that middle to bottom of the order last year too. So I think it made sense. I think the problem the Royals had, who do you move there? Until they had Yastrzemski, your options were India or Garcia, really. And if you move Garcia, you lose a guy who can hit in the middle of the order.
Right.
And they needed that. And so it was their argument, I believe, was, do we lose 20 points of OBP and have a guy in the middle who can hit, or do we put India down and not know what he can do? And now all of a sudden we don't have anybody past Pasquantino because Salvy wasn't hitting either. And so I think that I think they needed an alternative. And at the deadline, they went out and got one. And I'm not sure if they knew they were getting one or if they said, wait a minute, hang on, this guy can hit leadoff. I think they probably had an idea, wanted to ease him in a little bit. But I think it took getting Yastrzemski to have somebody they could move there. And now the lineup hasn't come out today. They're facing Patrick Corbin. I bet Garcia hits leadoff because now you've got Randall Grichuk to hit in the middle against the lefty. So you don't have to lose that middle of the order presence. And so, yeah, I think it took getting a couple of different guys to make that work. And Yastrzemski's thrived. India's thrived. I have it pulled up. The numbers since the move by weighted runs created plus. Witt is first at 173. He's finally starting to wit. But Pasquantino's second. There's guys on base constantly for him. So yes, he's going to drive it. He has 19 RBIs in 13 games since Yastrzemski moved to the top. Yastrzemski's third though, 150. So it's clearly working.
Yeah, I think, and you bring up a good point about Vinnie Pasquantino. Curtis asked him in the clubhouse. Curtis Siebel, who works with me on the radio show, asked him Tuesday about the team walking, about all the walks that they've had. And Vinnie said, and he said, you're walking. Curtis phrased it that way, meaning the Royals. And Vinnie said, oh, I'm not walking. Like he goes, no, I meant the team in general. He goes, yeah, because I haven't had a walk in like 2 weeks. But I think part of that is we know he'll be selective. He's not walking because there's guys on base. Right. Yeah. And they're having to pitch to him. And then he's delivering with the RBIs. What is Vinnie capable of, Les? Like what is the ceiling for Vinnie Pasquantino? When he was struggling early, we talked about it. Look, I know he's going to come around. I think we all had gotten to the point that Vinnie's a professional hitter. He'll figure it out. He's going to come around. And so I don't think any of us are shocked that he's doing this, but could he lock in for a whole year, and what would that look like?
Yeah, I think he can. I think you mentioned it a little bit. I think the one thing for Vinny is that he has to get a little bit better with hitting with nobody on base. I mean, what a problem to have, right? I mean, right. Well, like you said, guys on base, he's hitting inside fastballs. He's hitting sliders away. He's not missing the pitch that's right down the middle that a big league hitter that can hit home runs should be driving out of the ballpark. I mean, he's doing everything right. It's almost like, Vinny's always got that intense look like, do you want to fight me or do you want to pitch to me? Which one would you rather have? Because you're going to lose at either one of them. And it's even more so when even you got one guy, there's even a guy on first base. He walks up to the plate like, I dare you to come anywhere close to this little thing that looks like a house down at my feet because I'm going to crush it. And so if he can just learn to be a little more selective, because, sometimes nobody on base, they'll drop a first pitch curveball in the dirt and he comes out of his shoes. So every once in a while, he still has that guess a little bit. But even with all those home runs, I don't know if you guys see the strikeout totals, but he doesn't even have 100 strikeouts yet. I think he's at like 85 or 88 or something like that. Bobby Witt's got 105 and leads the team in strikeouts. So that's proof that he's learning how to be a better hitter as it goes. And I think that's what we're seeing. He's just so strong. So my only thing for him, the only improvement is stop chasing so much or guessing so much when there's nobody on base. But when there is somebody on base, please, Vinny, keep doing what you're doing because it's fun to watch. I think he'll end up. David sent me a great text last night. I said, hey, the ceiling, is he going to get to 30? Is he going to get to home run 100 RBIs? And David said, did you mean tonight or was it by the end of the season? So that was good. Well done.
You sent the text right before he homered, and then he homers. I'm like, well, maybe he can get 5 more tonight. Turns out he didn't, unfortunately.
Yeah, next year in the game, who knows? Yeah, but I think now, I mean, at this pace, does he get to 35? I think if he stays healthy and nothing happens, he's going to be maybe 110 RBIs is a possibility here. So the right guys are getting hot at the right time, and Vinny is that big RBI guy that they're going to need.
Yeah, and he was barreling towards 100 RBIs last year. and then had the wrist injury that robbed him of it. Pasquantino will hit arbitration year 1 next year. So they've got 3 more years of control. People are saying like, oh, you got to lock Vinny up, but do you, or does having 28, 29, 30 under control? Do you want 31, 32? I don't think Vinnie Pasquantino wants to lock up 31, 32. I think he wants to play this out and get to arbitration, or at least get to where he's knocking on get to free agency, get to where he's knocking on the door of free agency where his true market value would be received. He's just, based on his age, being a little bit older player, David, he's probably not the guy that you're looking to buy into free agency. He's probably not the guy who's looking to give those years away, right?
Well, it's hard to know because guys like him haven't been getting paid. I mean, Pete Alonso went out on the market, and he's a better power hitter than Vinny and more proven, obviously, because he had just more time. And he couldn't get a deal. I mean, he had to go back to the Mets. It was a big deal, but it was a short deal. And so I do think if the Royals came to him and said, hey, you got 3 years left before free agency, we're going to give you 5. And we think you're going to make, I don't know, I'm literally just throwing numbers out, $25 million in 3 years of arbitration. That's probably about right. I'd have to do some math on that. But, and then we're going to give you 5 years and $65 million. I think he'd have to think about it. Because I don't know. Is he going to get $20 million a year in free agency? Maybe, but maybe he gets 3 years and $18 million. So it's more, I don't know. This is how I go through contract stuff in my head. But I think that you may have to talk to him about it, but also if you go year to year, you go year to year. I don't think there's a problem with that. I don't necessarily see, I think, but my point is the value on first base only players, it just doesn't, it's not huge. And maybe that changes in a few years, but if you get to free agency, I think you can then say, well, okay, we want to keep you. We want to give you 4 and 80 or whatever. And he gets his free agent deal from the Royals, or he doesn't. And when you trade Freddie Fermin, you've decided, I don't care if you're a fan favorite. We're going to make this team better. And I think the smart move is to pay Vinny year to year and figure it out from there. I think 5 years ago, they would have given Vinny a 6 or 7 year deal and it would have been probably fine. But I think that the way they operate is we're going to go through arbitration with you. Maybe they settle the arbitration years. Maybe they do a Cole Reagan's deal where they give him 3 years and $22 million or something and say, we're not going through arbitration with you. Here's your money for the next 3 years. We'll talk again. But I think you go year to year. I do think it's interesting. Go way back to the start of the year. Bat speed increase. He got stronger. Bat speed increase. The power's there. He's swinging it about a mile per hour harder. He's figured out the timing. I don't think it's a surprise that he's gone from, he had 19 last year in 131 games. He's at 25 and 125 games this year. I don't think it's a surprise that the power has emerged as he's swinging harder and is stronger. And, we might be having a different conversation. If he goes off for 12 more home runs and gets to 37, you go, maybe you do lock that guy up. And maybe it costs more in November than it did today. But I think you go year to year with him.
Yeah, and I think you want him, right? This is not to say that you don't care,
right?
Just the situation that they're in. I think people need to understand that, because I think a lot of people are gonna be like, "Why aren't you locking up Vinnie Pasquantino?" It's not a lack of wanting him on the team. It's just where it's falling age-wise with him. We'll talk about bringing Jac Caglianone up and the fact that they are walking and homering at a rate that is unroyal-like after you hear from our friends at Green Light.
Green Light Dispensary, voted Kansas City's best dispensary and your go-to for quick, convenient service. With 4 locations across the Kansas City area, we're never far away. Our drive-thru and express windows make it easy to get in, get out, and get on with your day. Our award-winning service is powered by a team of experts dedicated to making your experience seamless and enjoyable. It's no wonder we've been voted the best. Convenient locations, fast service, knowledgeable staff. That's the Green Light difference. Visit us today.
David Starnes, Allstate Insurance. Elevate your coverage, elevate your confidence, and drive worry-free. Covering all the important things in your world: home, business, life, and even the fun stuff, as well as your motorcycle, boat, ATV, and you name it. Get with Dave, and he'll get you covered. You can give Dave and his crew a call at 816-781-7331. Visit them online or stop into any of their locations: North Kansas City, Liberty, and Branson, Missouri. Don't put those insurance needs off any longer. Get with Dave today. He'll give you peace of mind for the things in your life most important to you. David Starnes, Allstate Insurance. Jac Caglianone, when do you bring him back up? The common thought is September 1, the roster expands. He'll be the guy to get the call. We had talked about Carter Jensen, but, Jac Caglianone's back to hitting the ball hard down there as well. Is that the right time to bring him up, or do you not fix what ain't broke?
Yeah, I still think September 1st. I mean, you kept him up that long and put him into a situation and kept him in a situation where he was really having to trial by fire every single day. It was obviously he was struggling, and they kept running him out there to teach him. And so, but I would wait till September 1st. I mean, if you bring him up ahead of time, you're throwing him back in a role that says, oh, well, we need you to hit and you're that guy. He needs to be in a position in his mindset where I'm here to help the team. I'm not going to be thrust into the whole world's hinging on whether I hit or not. Not to mention the Royals between Frazier and Yastrzemski. I think it's been a pretty good corner outfield situation. So I wouldn't rush him. I would say September 1st is fine. And even on September 1st, I wouldn't put Jac right away into a starting position. Maybe a spot start here and there, pinch hit, depending on the situation. But I think it would not be a good thing if the Royals are continuing to play this well and still have this shot, all of a sudden to throw him in there and then unbalance the lineup a little bit, put that pressure back on him again. Because if the Royals are winning and he comes back up and starts right in the lineup, what's the first thing he's going to think? And he's probably going to start going back into the holes that he needed to correct, of swinging at bad pitches, of overswinging, of swinging at, up and in fastballs and in the dirt stuff, and 0-2 every count, and being a defensive hitter. So September 1st for me is just fine. He needs to continue, even though he's hitting well, he needs to continue to be in a position where he's taking pitches he shouldn't be swinging at. Even if he hits 270, let alone up to 500 in a streak that he was in, it doesn't matter. He needs to show signs of awareness, plate awareness, pitch awareness, and then plate discipline. And if he can show that, then maybe he can be a starter come spring training of 26. And so for me, September 1st, start consistently next year after spring training and go from there.
Yeah, Billy Bill, Rave has an 818 OPS since the All-Star break. There are real options now for this club, David. How do you approach it with Caglianone if you're the Royals?
Well, I don't think it's a mistake they started his rehab August 12th. You get 20 days. And they could have started it earlier. He got hurt in a minor hamstring strain in late July and didn't start a rehab until mid-August. What's the math? 20 days after August 12th is September 1st. They're off September 1st also, by the way, so they don't need anyway. I don't think that's a mistake. I think you bring him up when the rosters expand. You only get, you can add 2 players up to 1 pitcher. You could add 2 position players if you want to. I don't think a team has, since they've made it 28, has added 2 position players and not a 14 pitcher. But yeah, I think that's when you bring him up. Look, he's hitting well in AAA. He hit well in AAA before. But what I think is really interesting, the comments were, we don't want to bring him up into a lineup that he has to be a savior. He doesn't have to be a savior anymore. The lineup
he did then, but he doesn't now.
Right. This is the lineup they wanted to bring him into. and there are some positional issues. Yastrzemski's a right fielder. Caglianone has played only right field. I think he played left field twice in AAA. I don't think it went well. I don't know why you couldn't just try it, but
that's a tough position to play. They're different. They're definitely different.
It's very different, especially at Kauffman Stadium. The way the Hall of Fame has completely changed the wind. Like Alex Gordon talked about this. You see it all the time. The ball has come back in left field. It's a very odd left field, even though it's symmetrical and perfectly rounded and all that. It's a weird left field. And so, I don't know where you put him. I do think he needs to play a decent amount. Maybe not every day. Maybe it is the right spots. But again, you are putting him into the lineup that you wanted to put him into. You can hit him 7th if you want. If you wanted to put India 6th and Caglianone 7th, I guess you'd probably put Cag 6th because Salvy 5th. You go right, left, right. But when he was hitting 6th, you thought he can hit higher because everybody stinks. No, there's no place higher for him anymore. There is not. 6 is the ceiling. I think, in this lineup for him. And so I don't know. We talked about this too. The Royals are one of the few teams that can say we could add an ace and a legitimate 40 home run bat way after the deadline. It's Cole Reagans and Jac Caglianone. Neither one's a guarantee, but there's the possibility there. Caglianone's a guy. If he keeps doing what he's doing in AAA, you can add a 40 home run bat to your lineup on September 1st, 2nd, I guess, with their schedule. But most teams can't say that. So yeah, I think he comes up. I think I think he plays. I think they figure it out. And there are options to play. There are also options to sit. Adam Frazier's 0 for his last 7. He hasn't had a hit since Sunday. He was way over his skis. Let's be real. He was due for a drop off. He is a utility guy. He shouldn't get 600 at bats. There's a spot for Caglianone. It's just this is the situation they wanted him in, and they've got it now.
Yeah, for sure. The walking and the homering. Like, how does that happen, Les? Is this just a product of they've got a complete lineup? Like, we're seeing what it is to have to make a pitching staff have to go after each hitter and not get a 3-hitter break at the bottom of the lineup? Is this Daniel Mack's team put some numbers in front of somebody? Is it that there was a eureka moment out of the club? Alex Zumwalt was under tremendous fire. He's not under fire now. I mean, they look like a modern baseball team working the count. How do you explain this?
I think it's a combination of things. I mean, we don't know what conversations they had. If Zumwalt had a conversation, if there was a hitters only meeting or something like that. I mean, aside from that, I feel like it's a combination of the move that we talked about with Yastrzemski and India, because when you have guys that are comfortable mentally in those spots, we know they can do it physically, but if they're comfortable mentally, when you're locked in your brain, you're seeing the ball a lot better. I mean, when you're struggling 5 inches off the plate, when you're already committed to swing at the pitch, no matter where it is, then you're swinging at bad pitches or you're rolling over, something like that. But when you're really locked in, you're getting your foot down, you're seeing the ball as far away as possible to give you that extra millisecond or whatever it is, then 2 inches off the plate, you're going to see it, you're going to spit on it, and providing the umpire doesn't screw you on the call, then you're locked in. Those two are locked in. I think there's also part of that stretch that Isbell started to hit a little bit, and he was working his average up to almost 270. And so when you have your 9-hole hitter getting on base and putting the pressure on the pitcher and the defense, then you tend to have more confidence at the plate as well. Then Garcia continues to hit. Bobby is starting to hit even better. And then Vinnie is bashing home runs. So I just think you're in a situation where the right guys are clicking at the right time. And I hate and love the saying, hitting is contagious. Because look, when I'm in the lineup, 8 other guys can't swing the bat for me. And I'm happy my team is hitting, and it does give me confidence, but it doesn't guarantee that I'm going to get a hit. But yet it does calm you down in a sense mentally. Hitting is so mental. I talk about all the time that it does give you a little more relaxation, confidence to see the ball better. And so I think it's just that combination of factors. Isbell's hitting in the 9-hole. You had the good shift between Yaz and India. You've got guys that should be hot and should be producing at epic levels all of a sudden on the streak that they're in. And so I just think it's that mind framework that everybody's starting to see and clicking at the right time. We can walk to get on. Not everybody has to get a hit every single time up. And last thing I'll say on this, you see Garcia with a runner on second base. He's hitting over 300. He has every right to try to shoot a gap or go the other way because he's been so talented at what he's done. The guy knows how to hit. He doesn't get beat by anything or anybody. I mean, he got beat by an up and in pitch last night, but he also fouled off pitches that most guys can't even touch. And so you see a guy on second with nobody on, and what is Garcia doing? He's trying to hit a ground ball to the right side. He just ends up getting a hit out of it because he keeps his hands inside the ball so well, and he just doesn't get beat. So I think it's just a plethora of things that are happening, and it's just fun to watch.
Yeah, I think going into Tuesday's game, David, everybody in the lineup had an on-base percentage over 300, except for Luke Maile. And I think he even did. I think everybody in the lineup did. I think he did too, because he went over. I'm looking at what it was. He was 290 coming out of that game. But, like, when was the last time that the Royals sent a lineup out there where everybody had – and with 300 is a low bar, by the way. But usually you look at the Royals on-base percentage, and you got 2, 3, 4 guys that are 297, 286. Like, Kyle Isbell, Kyle Isbell got his up over 300. I mean, This is an organizational success story.
Well, I'm going to go back to August 6th. That's the day that they switched the lineup around. Just take a guess where the Royals rank in chase rate, with the number 1 being the highest, number 30 being the lowest.
I'm going to say that you're asking this question because it's remarkably high. I'm going to say they're 4th.
Well, you wrong way. You went the other way, but yes,
I think 27.
Oh, okay. So I don't want to be chasing. So yes, 27th. That would be 4th. The other.
I knew what you meant. They're 28th.
Wow.
The only teams that have chased less than the Royals are the Yankees and the Dodgers. Like I don't know, and I didn't look at a different date, so it could have gone back farther than that. But I think that feels like the real shift for this offense. Nobody's chasing. I mean, I pulled up the players since then. Maile is above average, 14 plate appearances. Also, I don't care about Luke Maile. I sorry, I don't. Salvy is 34.4%, which is really low for him, to be honest. John Rave is the third highest chase rate at 29.1%. Then it's Frazier. Isbell's at 26.5. The league average since that time is 28.1. So the Royals only have 4 players higher than league average on chase rate, and 2 of them are 28.9 and 29.1, which is still fine.
Yeah,
like some of these guys
average.
Yeah, Bobby Witt's at 24%. Vinny's down to 21.1%. It's a small sample, yes. India's at 19.3. Yastrzemski's at 19.1. Garcia's at 14.9.
Wow.
So what's you add? I know it's crazy. So you add, and Leith Lofton's actually at 12.5, by the way. But so you add these guys who will actually take a walk, and really they've only added Yastrzemski since the trade deadline to that. But now you've got multiple guys in the lineup who will take a walk, who will take a pitch, and then they get on base, and you have to be more careful. And when you're more careful, and to your point, Les, you're seeing the ball better. You're not chasing. It's the Royals have a really good combination here because they are third best in chase rate. They're tops in contact rate, but they're also hitting the ball hard. Exit velocity, 3rd best in baseball. Hard hit rate, 4th best in baseball. Barrel rate, I think they're 7th best in baseball in that time. So they're swinging at the right pitches. They are not swinging at the wrong pitches. And when they do make contact, they're making good contact. It's a great combination. It's what works. And I think this goes back. I think a lot of it's mental. I really do. I think that you can have the best approach, but if it's not working, you start to doubt. And like you said, Les, the pitch 5 inches off the plate, you commit to swing, you make a bad decision. And I just think once things start to click, it's easy to get them into place. And my fear, if I'm being honest, is one little push takes them out of this, and all of a sudden they have a stretch where they score 11 runs in 7 games because they chase 38% of the time. I'm not convinced this is real, but it has been real for the last 2 weeks, and it's been really fun to watch.
Yeah, I do. I agree with you. We always talk in basketball terms, like when a team's down 18 and they make this run in the last 5 minutes of the game and they get to tied. There's like an exhale.
Yeah.
And then they kind of fall back by 5.
And they're down 6 in 30 seconds.
And we say the run's got to push forward 2 even and then all the way past, right? You got to get back into the lead because there's going to be this exhale. There's just some, luck of the draw that's kind of part of this run that you've been on. And it feels like the Royals are that way as well. I mean, I think they got to push all the way through. Like, I really think the hitting and the bringing it, they almost need to win it on the last day. Right, because if they get there and they go up a half game with like 2 weeks to go, I see, okay, we're here, and so all this is going, and they're in a roll, and I think you want everything to stay the same, and I'm with you. Like, do they hit a pothole, and then everybody goes, oh, wait a minute, we're back to being the team that can't hit, where right now. You hear Bobby Witt after the game say, well, we're handing it off to the next guy. They are trusting in their teammate. Nobody feels like they have to do too much. Unless I saw your eyes light up on Maikel Garcia when David mentioned him and how much you're enjoying watching him hit. Is it they've always believed in him, believed he was talented. They had the number. He's got a little bit of Vlad Guerrero in him. When they said balls out of the strike zone, he's hitting at 313 and slugging like 465. He's the highest in baseball at balls he's hitting out of the zone. That's just raw talent.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also an idea that maybe there's even more there, that if he backs off some of those, which he's still hitting and hitting hard right now, I think that's a little bit fluky. I don't think that's your game plan. Let's go out of the zone and hit it hard. But, he is showing his real talents right now as a hitter.
Yeah, he is. And normally I would completely agree with you in that sense. But I just feel like in watching him play, now I'm going to make a comparison. And before I do, and you guys lose your headsets here, they're not the same player, but let me explain. So coming up and playing against Chipper Jones in Double-A, the big knock on him in the media at the time and what players were talking about is that he's going through the motions. He doesn't care. Well, he didn't care enough to the Hall of Fame, because when he was in the big leagues and he was in the minor leagues, it was the exact same approach. It was smooth. It was calculated. He just looked like he was taking it easy in his approach at the plate, even as a switch hitter. It was just very easy. Does this guy really care? Well, obviously he cared. He was an incredible player. And so if you watch Garcia, the way he plays defense, the way he sets up, the way he throws across the diamond, the way he's almost always on the money with his throws, the way he doesn't rush his throws, the way even when he has to be quick on a little chopper or a little swinging bunt, he comes up and makes the play, and he doesn't hesitate, and he throws that sidearm when he has to. Then these pitches on offense that are out of the zone, he doesn't overswing. He gets his hands to the ball. He goes with pitches. Even on balls he fouls off, you can see that he's trying to go with the pitch. And then I don't know if you guys saw the overhead shot of the ball that he hit in the corner. I'd mentioned it earlier when he hit that home run in that 4-3 win, that home run that went just inside the foul pole. He naturally steps open about 2 to 3 inches. That ball was a 97-mile-an-hour fastball on the inside corner that may not have been a strike, but he kept his hands in. He didn't overswing.
It wasn't. It was way off.
Yeah, he kept his hands inside. He didn't roll over. He just went to the barrel. He didn't try to hit the home run. He barreled it. That was his goal, was to barrel it. So you talk about that he's just that talented. The mechanics that you have to have aren't just talent. You have to be able to discipline that and work on that over in the cage, off the tee, and batting practice. And so that there's talent, and then there's work ethic to just make the talent that much better. So he is so valuable because he does so many things. Yes, it's talent, but it's all the work that he's put in to get to this talent at a young age. And so the Royals need to hang on to this guy because he is highly, highly valuable, and I think we've seen that.
Yeah.
Real quick, let me go through the list of the top slugging percentages with outside the strike zone. It's a who's who. Luis Arraez, okay. Garcia is number 2. Bobby Witt's number 3. Isaac Paredes is 4. Alejandro Kirk is 5. Jose Ramirez 6. Ketel Marte 7. Cal Raleigh 8. Slugging out of the zone is not a bad thing. The good players do it. And I will also say there was only 2 players over 400, and it's Garcia and Luis Arraez, which is shocking. Bobby Witt's 3rd at 392. So, yeah, it's a skill. It's a skill that comes from talent, from natural talent.
Maikel Garcia is the guy you talk about locking up.
Yes.
Right? That's the guy, because he is 25 right now. So you're talking about a guy, he's got an extra year of arbitration. 26, 27, 28, 29. So I guess he's only about a year younger than Vinnie based upon his when he's going to get there. But he is more the athlete and would figure to play at a higher level longer, right? So this would be the guy you'd be looking at. How much more power is there, Les? Do you think that, as he gets a feel for it, we're seeing it come up, but how much more is there?
I think there's a lot there. I just don't know that you're going to see a lot because he's so prone to go the other way. He's so prone to, he can, as a hitter, we always say, look for a pitch in the zone. And then usually you try to not swing at a pitcher's pitch, but we're talking about a guy that is very successful on pitches out of the zone. There was an at-bat the other day that he hit a laser for a single to center field. His butt and lower half were somewhere in left field down the third baseline, but his hands are so good, he has such body control that he kept his top side in, his shoulder on the ball, threw his hands at a ball that was a nasty pitch down and away, and didn't just flip like the Marcus Semien RBI single to center field last night. He smoked the ball to center field. And so, there's just so much giftedness there with him. I agree with you. I think you need to lock him up. Power-wise, I think it is there because, again, he's sneaky big in the top side. And even though he strides a little further than most big league hitters do, when his front foot lands, his head stops moving. It's hard to do that with a guy that doesn't weigh 220 pounds and has these massive legs, but he has figured it out. That's one of the things where he stayed in Kansas City and made the adjustments to make himself a better hitter, is that once your foot's down on time, then you got to keep your head still and let your hands work. He's figured that out. So I think he does have the power. You might see a slight uptick in home runs as these next few years roll on, but I don't think it's going to be substantial because he just uses the whole part of the field, and pitchers know him. They don't want to make a mistake. They know what he can do. And if he's going to be chasing pitchers' pitches that they're not going to stop throwing him, he'll hit for the high average. He might not hit 25 homers, but he'll hit for the high average. Could he? Yes. But then it takes away some of the best parts of his game.
Yeah. Yeah, you agree, David? I mean, he's pounding out the doubles. Like everyone.
Yeah.
Bobby Witt's leading the league with 39, and so that sucks up a lot of the oxygen in the room. But he's got 32 doubles.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He's barreling towards a 40 double season. And oh, by the way, he's not 2 or 3 homers. He's got 12 right now.
I think what you'll see, and because I think his pitch selection has gotten so much better. I think you'll start to see him take the next step of learning, okay, this is a pitch I need to open up and turn on and crush. Whereas I think there are some pitches he doesn't always recognize that. He still hits it hard, but it's a ball up the middle. I think he'll do a better job as he ages and sees more pitches and all that. Okay, I'm going to hit this home run instead of stay on the ball because I know I can do this. And so I think you could see, I don't know, 21, 22 is a ceiling, which is good, especially with his defense. And the defense has rebounded this year since he's been at third base exclusively for most of the season now. I was looking at it. I'm going to work on an extension article. I love writing those. But I picked 9 players and looked at their arbitration numbers. It's going to take a decent amount of money. But I think that you can get it done. I mean, you're looking at probably about $4 million next year, $8 million in year 2, 12 in year 3, 14 to 15 in year 4. Those are the arbitration numbers. But what you have to think about is, okay, he's giving you a deal. So if that's 36 million, do you give him 4 and 32 for the arbitration years and then 3 more years at 22 million a piece? Maybe. And so then what is that? 66 plus 32. I mean, maybe you use 7 and 100 and call it good. I think they have to explore it. Because I do think there's more to this game, but even if there's not, the floor is enough.
And let's be clear, it makes him, shortstop is probably his most valuable position. Those offensive numbers become fantastic if he's playing shortstop. I know people don't want to hear this, like, oh, the guy's good. Like, Vinnie Pasquantino's good. He's got to play for the Royals forever and ever and ever. We have to recreate George Brett with every player that's good. It doesn't look like that. And you wanted a team that's transactional. And it's been great that they've been able to take pieces that you haven't really seen, minor leaguers that weren't on top 100 prospect lists, and come back, or Aroldis Chapman, who you knew was a rental, and get Cole Reagans and those minor league pieces and come away with Ryan Bergert. We can get excited. You'll love those deals. But along the way also, somewhere they're going to have to flip real big league talent to restart. I mean, it's not a coincidence. You hear all the time J.J. Piccolo say, and in these pitchers we got 14 controllable total years. Like, that is always what they're thinking. And so you're going to see some guys that have 2 years left to control, and they're going to move them. And you're going to be like, wait a minute, that guy's good. And you're going to have to trust that they're getting the next Bergert, they're getting the next Reagans, they're finding the next Garcia, they're getting the next Vinnie Pasquantino, because that is how they're not just going to go buy it on the open market. They're going to always have to be using their resources. And a lot of times their resources are a couple of controllable years on good players. And Maikel Garcia, if you ever do think you've got a third baseman coming in the system, or you're getting a third baseman out of the deal along with other assets, Maikel Garcia may be a guy that they deal because of what you just said, David, because of how, and because of what you said, Les, other teams are going to covet this guy, right? And so it's about the name on the front of the jersey. We all love the name on the back, but, I love my Calvin Pickering jersey. It crushed me when Calvin Pickering left the Royals, but I'm still a Royals fan. right? You got to hang in there. That's the big picture of it all. Listen, we left a lot of meat on the bone this week. We'll get to it next week. We're always brought to you by our friends at David Starnes Allstate Insurance. Give Dave and his crew a call if you've got any insurance needs. 816-781-7331. Whataburger's open 24 hours a day. They serve breakfast 11 p to 11 a. Go check out my favorite, the Patty Melt. It is the best. You can get it at Whataburger, open 24 hours a day. Frontier Justice, locations in Lee Summit, Kansas City, Kansas, and Jenks, Oklahoma. Whether you're new to shooting or a seasoned pro, you'll find their expert staff, top-tier gear, and a strong sense of community. Visit frontier-justice.com to learn more, and by Greenlight Dispensary, 15 locations in Missouri, and more on the way. Greenlight is the go-to for all your cannabis needs. Tell them you saw it right here on the Kaufman Corner podcast. For David Lesky from Inside the Crown, for Les Norman from Breaking the Norm, I'm Soren Petro saying thank you very much for joining us here on the Kaufman Corner podcast.